Now, this item has been around for quite some time, and it's been mostly useless due to a couple different problems. But with the recent changes to the way that mana reservation works, this item suddenly has become significantly more powerful. Now, this won't be spectacular for every single build out there, but there are quite a few builds that can make absolutely ridiculous use of this item. Up to 4 essentially free auras at any given time, as long as you can recover a little bit of your mana back, seems pretty overpowered for a single item. So let's get into it. Hey guys, Big Ducks here, and welcome back to the channel. Now remember, if you're enjoying this style of content, make sure that you like this video so that YouTube knows to recommend you more of it. Also, over 75% of you are still not subscribed to this YouTube channel, so if you're enjoying my particular style of content, make sure that you subscribe so that these videos will show right up in your feed, and you can always change your mind later. Now without further ado, let's get back to the video. Alright boys, so yesterday, a viewer over on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/BigDucks, which you should follow by the way, told me about these boots. And they said that, hey Big Ducks, there's this item that I think is really insane now, you should check it out. So I did, and we spent a little bit of time looking at it, and it is called March of the Legion. Now looking at this item, you know, it seems kind of unassuming. It's like, oh yeah, you get some level of aura gems, and you know, there's got this level 25 blessing thing. It's got some move speed, got some elemental resist. Doesn't seem like much, right? Well, the thing about it is that here in this most recent patch, we got a change to the way that auras work. Auras now only reserve. They don't actually cost their mana. So what this means is that when you reserve an aura and unreserve an aura, you actually don't need to keep that mana cost to reserve more. So why is this important? Well, the blessing skill, what it does is it takes a aura of whatever you have linked to it, it reserves it for 0.2 seconds, and then it gives you a buff. Now that duration is increased by increased duration on like your skill tree or items, or maybe like, you know, if you have like increased duration support, all of that works with it. So why is this important? Well, as you can see, I have currently Purity of Fire, Zealotry, and Wrath going. And I have 9,200 mana. This is a Stormbrand Hierophant that I'll be making like a build video about sometime soon. But if you look, I am able to reserve all 3 of those auras, and they've got about a 25-second duration. And as you can see, my mana is completely open. I haven't reserved a single bit of it. And another thing is I can just refresh these buffs essentially whenever I want. Now this being a mana build, I recover my mana quite quickly, especially when I use Arcane Cloak, and I go back to full mana pretty much instantly. Now, this ability is kind of strong in my opinion. I don't know that this is super useful for a lot of builds, but the fact that I can just have Purity of Fire just kind of letting me run Righteous Fire without almost any issues, because at level 22, which is what it gets up to, you get like +5 max fire resist. I mean, this is 3 free auras for me, and if I didn't want to have to deal with increased duration support, I could have 4 free auras. Now, there is some downsides to this. You do have to press the buttons every like 25-30 seconds, and keep in mind this is with increased duration support, these 3 skill duration nodes here. Now you could get even more, you could grab these skill duration nodes as well, but for me it didn't really end up worth it. I also, because I'm running a mana build, had to run these, because it does actually work with Supreme Ego. So the idea is you're only ever actually having 1 permanent aura on you at any time, because you're reserving it and then it goes away and it turns into a blessing and it's no longer permanent. So, auras from your skills have 50% more effect on you, and you have 50% more reservation of skills. So the thing about it is without these nodes over here, the reservation on these 50% auras goes over 100%, but right now it's at 90.3. So that's the idea, is that you can make use of a Supreme Ego aura, meaning it's going 50% more effectiveness on you. You can have up to 4 of them if you like. So if you think about builds that use increased skill effect duration anyways, something like maybe a Toxic Rain or something like that, you could probably make some pretty good use of these auras, especially if you didn't really care about having your mana reserved. Like say if you used, I don't know, something like Eldritch Battery, and you really didn't care about your mana being reserved anyways. That would be a pretty decent way to deal with it. So if you were casting off of your energy shield anyways, you could just have, you know, free mana, like something on like the Edie Contagion build that I made a couple leagues back. Then you could have your Mind Over Matter mana just essentially open because you've just got a whole bunch of free auras. So there's a bunch of ways that I think that this could be useful. I haven't even like big brained it enough at this point to see what all the different things could be, but in practice, it's not too bad as long as you do keep the duration high. Like it is kind of annoying at first to get used to pressing 3 more buttons on top of all of your flasks, but if you only have to press them every 25 or 30 seconds, it's really not that bad. So just keep in mind, this does have to be an aura, and it has to be a standard aura. Things like stances and things like petrified blood and things like that don't necessarily work properly. There is some weird interactions that do happen with Supreme Ego because you can only have 1 permanent aura on you at any time. These are not permanent auras, but they do count as permanent auras for that first 0.2 seconds before they actually turn on. So if you're using another aura that's permanent on top of these free ones, it will turn that permanent aura off when you do enable these. So there are some little things about that. Now, another thing is we practiced with trying to see if there was any way that like an Arcanist brand could cast them or a Totem could cast them, and the problem is that brands cannot actually cast a ability that reserves mana. Because it reserves mana for 0.2 seconds, it doesn't actually work. Totems can cast it, however, it's just like casting an aura on any other totem. It doesn't really do anything special, and there's not enough links for this to actually make sense. The other thing that we tried is we were thinking about like cast on melee kill or cast when damage taken, just to get these buffs to just auto pop every time you take damage, and all of the triggerable abilities can't trigger things that reserve mana, so none of that works. Now there might be more that we can do here, but I'm curious if you have any ideas or if you can figure out anything about this. I just learned about it yesterday. Like I said, just a chat member came in and said, hey, this item is really cool, you should take a look at it. We did a little bit of testing. It seemed pretty strong, at least on this build, like just a pure mana build where I can just reserve a whole bunch of auras and then my mana just goes back up to full after I hit Arcane Cloak. And whenever I kill enemies, I get a bunch of mana back, and the buff duration is super long. So let me know down in the comments if you have like any cool ideas that this would work with, if there's any builds that you've heard of, or anything that would work well with this. My personal thoughts off the top of my head were like builds that take increased duration anyways, like Toxic Rain or things like that, or builds that do use mana and want their mana to be open and free. Things like agnostic builds, or things like Mind Over Matter builds, or ones that use Eldritch Battery, things like that. So let me know down in the comments if you can think of anything. And that is going to be it for the video. I just wanted to give you a quick video about this because it seems really cool. I mean, I haven't really big-brained enough. We spent a little bit of time on stream trying to figure out what might be kind of cool. It takes a little bit of investment to really get going, but I mean, up to 4 50% free auras if you want. Like, if you're already investing pretty heavily in, like, skill effect duration, you can get 4 50% auras. Now, most builds that are, investing very heavily in skill effect duration probably can't find 4 50% auras that they like, but you can use anything here. It seems really powerful. We're gonna have to see where it goes from here. So remember, guys, if you're enjoying this kind of content, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content similar to this, and stay safe out there in rank class. And I'll see you guys in the next video.